Hi everybody, Dana Sparks, broker of Maximum One Greater Atlanta Realtors, and today's contract tip has to do with strategies to help your clients in a very fast-paced, increasing market, very competitive market. So this is February 2021 here in Metro Atlanta. We have an extremely competitive, fast-paced market. There are more buyers on the market than there is inventory on the market. And what that creates is a multiple offer situation for many sellers and agents working with the sellers. Many buyers missing out on property and writing many offers on various properties. So just want to go over a couple of strategies to help you as an agent, help your clients through this very competitive market. There are some cases I heard last weekend from two of my agents. One agent, they were working with a buyer, and that buyer's offer was one of 36 offers that the seller received within 3 days. And one was, again, an offer of more than 20. And I've heard from several agents that they go to show a property and there is a line. They have to wait outside for their turn to see the property. So that is, again, what we call a very competitive, very fast market. So I'm going to start off with some strategies for buyers. And then, believe it or not, I am going to discuss, and stay tuned to the end of the video, I am going to talk about a few seller strategies for dealing with this market as well. So number one is that, I'm not going to number them because I'm going to lose count, but there are a lot of buyers that are currently in a home and need to sell their current home first before they're able to purchase a move-up home, or a home to move into. So they would make their offer contingent upon the sale or lease of their current home. With this competition, a seller may have a choice of another offer that is not contingent. So buyers, you might want to consider selling your home, taking advantage of this market from a seller perspective, and selling your home, and then finding a short-term rental, moving in with family, finding an extended stay place, but doing something in the interim so that you can find a new home to purchase without your contract being contingent upon the sale or lease of your current home. So that's one strategy. Ideal, probably not, but a strategy nonetheless. Another issue is, or another strategy that we see in this marketplace, are buyers writing what we call love letters. Love letters, Seema. And what that is that is a letter from a buyer basically pulling on the heartstrings of the seller to make their offer stand out and try to add an emotional quality based on a variety of other reasons to get the seller to choose their offer rather than another one. Please watch the video, I will link it below, that I have done on love letters from buyers to sellers and why it might be a potential fair housing violation for a seller to accept a love letter from a buyer, to select an offer based on a love letter from a buyer. And agents, y'all should have no part in that type of communication. Please check with your broker. Please watch the video I have done on those love letters. And again, the potential violations of fair housing laws and license laws. License laws for you as agents, and fair housing laws are federal and state laws incumbent upon our public clients and customers as well. So, not sure. That is a strategy, and again, please check with your broker. Another strategy for buyers is what's called an escalation clause. And basically what that is the buyer, now obviously you need to check and make sure your buyer is qualified for, whatever financially they're qualified for through the lender. But an escalation clause is something to the effect of my buyer will pay X amount of dollars over the next highest offer with an upper limit or a cap of Y with proof of next highest offer. I've discussed escalation clauses before. If you are a maximum one agent, there is an attorney written escalation clause in the reference section of Paperless Pipeline. If you're not a maximum one agent, please check with your own broker. There also, I believe there's an escalation clause in the RE forms special stipulation library. So check out those and take a look at those. Another would be to limit the number of contingencies or limit the time frame for those contingencies for your buyer. So due diligence, we have a due diligence period. As a broker, I would never, ever, ever suggest you go in with 0 days due diligence. With the emotions of the market right now, you absolutely want to make sure that your buyer, if you're working with a buyer, has the option to terminate under no penalty during the due diligence period, even if it's very short-lived, once they can catch their breath and really decide, are they getting carried away with the emotions of the market and the fear that they're never going to find something, or the disappointment of losing out after multiple offers, or is this something that they really want? So I cannot, in good conscience as a broker, suggest that you go in with 0 days. You should at least go in with some due diligence, again, to protect your buyer. But other contingencies, like a financing contingency or an appraisal contingency, take a look at those, or limiting those time frames if possible. Or if there is an alternative way where a buyer can pay cash and then perhaps refinance into a loan later. I don't know. Those are issues with your lender. And another strategy for you buyers agents working with buyers, at least in the Metro Atlanta area. If you're working in another part of the state, I'm not familiar with your various MLS services. But for the Metro Atlanta area, another strategy to help your buyers find houses in this competitive market is to look for inventory on Georgia MLS, GAMLS, as opposed to FMLS. And the reason I say that is, as a broker, generally speaking, it is a lot less expensive for a broker to join Georgia MLS than to join FMLS. Now, many brokers belong to both listing services as well as additional other ones. But if it is perhaps a smaller brokerage, or it could just be the broker's choice, or for a variety of reasons, there are some brokers who only belong to the Georgia MLS, GAMLS, and so their inventory would be on that listing service and not necessarily on FMLS, or the first multiple listing service, where a lot of agents generally look for inventory in the Metro Atlanta area. Here are two strategies that you may not have heard before. So one is the an escalation clause, but instead, typically what the escalation clause is, well, I just said it. Buyer will go in, buyer will pay X amount of dollars over next highest offer. The issue we run into is appraisal. Will the property appraise for thousands or tens of thousands? The two agents that I spoke with this weekend, one, they did have an escalation clause. It was $10,000 over the next highest offer with no cap. Their offer still did not accept it. They did talk to the listing agent. The listing agent did accept another offer, $10,000 over list price, and it was an all cash deal. No appraisal contingency, no financing contingency. So, but the issue is, will the property appraise? Yeah, it sounds all great and good to the seller, but if the property is not going to appraise for that much over the asking price, then you're potentially wasting your time, at the seller's time and the buyer's time. So now, be cautious though, there are some properties that are appraising. So you buyer's agents, do not use that escalation clause to hedge your bets that, buyer, you'll never have to spend that money. There's no way on earth it's going to appraise. They may appraise, but they may not appraise. So here's a new idea for you. What about writing an escalation clause, not even an escalation clause, but writing a special stipulation that the buyer, again, must be qualified with the lender and must have cash. Not all cash, they could get finance, but the clause is the buyer will pay X amount of dollars, $1,000, $5,000 over the appraisal price. See, that is an awesome strategy because that gets beyond the objection of a seller looking at this escalation clause, or even if it's not an escalation clause, accepting an offer over list price because of these appraisal worries. So having a buyer, if they have the ability to pay a certain amount of cash over the appraisal price, that's a good one. So think about that one. That's a new strategy. Another strategy is a love letter, but it is a love letter from a lender. You absolutely need to work with a lender that you know, love, and trust. And basically, and a lender that does more than just pull credit at the very beginning. But if you have a lender that really has truly vetted your buyer and looked at their income, perhaps there's an additional income source. Perhaps there's an additional spouse or child or friend or business partner or whatever that can go on the contract. Perhaps your lender has already verified employment and sees that this buyer has been with the employer for 20 plus years, something along those lines. Then a love letter from that lender accompanying your offer might be a great strategy. So you have the pre-approval letter, and then you have an additional missive from the lender that says, I've pulled the drive report, I've verified employment. There are other options to other people that can come on the loan. There are cash options. The buyer could pay cash if necessary. They just want to leverage their money in the market right now. So some sort of further confidence from the lender that, yes, this deal actually will close, and should there be issues, you have a more likelihood. Now, you guys know no deal is ever a done deal until the closing attorney's check has cleared the bank. And until it's funded, things can happen. But as far as confidence in helping your buyer make themselves more competitive in a multiple offer situation, that might be another strategy. So I hope those last two were a couple that you may not have thought about and can help your buyers. Now, let's just switch really quickly to the seller side. You're thinking, Dana, what does the seller need to know? My gosh, the seller wants as many offers as possible. Well, yes and no. It can get a bit hectic and a bit overwhelming trying to choose. One more buyer thing. Also, have your buyers, if it is a property they really like, go in with an offer. And if it's already under contract, go right back with that same offer and negotiate it as a backup. So that's one. And one more thing, highest and best. In this market right now, in a fast competitive market, your buyers, every offer should be their highest and best. Don't wait for a highest and best call from a seller. Go in at your highest and best first go round. You may miss out if not. Okay, now the seller side. We had one of our agents that got a response back from a listing agent saying that they had received over 36 offers, and they capped it at 25 regarding what they brought to the buyer's attention. Just want to bring to your attention that regardless of the number of offers you get, it is license law. Correct Rule 520-1-.101. A licensee shall promptly tender to any customer or client any signed offer made to such customer or client. You listing agents, you cannot cap the number of offers that you present to a seller. You must present them all. So what are a couple of strategies? Well, a seller does not have to, if a seller receives multiple offers, a seller does not have to call for a highest and best. A seller may select any offer they choose without even letting the other buyers know that there are multiple offers on the table. A seller can select the first one that came. A seller can select the best one that has the best terms, the best everything for the seller. Listing agents, if you have a line outside of your listing with 20 plus agents already on a Friday, you can limit the showings and perhaps not show the property on Saturday. Keeping the MLS service up to date is absolutely very helpful. Returning your phone calls is absolutely helpful. But again, a seller, you don't have to call for a multiple offer. For a highest and best situation, you can limit the number of showings or stop showings if you believe you're going to have enough offers that the seller is going to choose. So there are strategies to help with a seller navigate through all of these offers, or bring them all on. And sellers, you might want to go ahead and accept one offer and then negotiate the next one with you countering back with the counter offer exhibit. So that would be a good strategy as well too. Another issue, just a couple of final comments. You buyer's agents, selling real property is not an outright auction in the resale process, perhaps in the foreclosure, selling on the courthouse steps. But in this resale process, it is not an outright auction. So it is not just highest price that wins. So you agents working with buyers, let them know, just because they have an escalation clause, $10,000 over list price with no cap, is not a guarantee they're going to get it. Perhaps the type of loan or any contingencies. A seller looks at not only the price they're getting, but there are other terms under which a seller evaluates an offer. Another thing, you listing agents, when you are in a position where your sellers are getting multiple offers, please use the forms. There are forms available to you to communicate with all of the buyers that did take the time to write an offer on your property. So there is a form, there is a GAR form, and that is F288, Notice to Reject Offer or Counter Offer. That is a form that I highly suggest you have your sellers sign and send back to the agents representing the buyers for all of the offers that the seller did not accept, just to avoid the potential question of, did the seller even see that offer? Was it even presented? So listing agents, you guys have these notice to reject offer, counter offer signed by your seller so that you can demonstrate that your seller actually did see the offer and it is your seller's rejection of the offer, not just that they never saw it. Additionally, there is a new GAR form, Georgia Association of Realtors form for 2021, request for confirmation of presentation of offer. This is a document, and this is should put on my glasses. This document is F289, brand new 2021 request for confirmation of presentation of offer. This is a document that is signed between the listing agent, broker, and the buyer's agent. Again, this is demonstrating that you as the agent did present the offer and just to stay in compliance with license law and the Realtor Code of Ethics. So comment below, what has been your experience working with buyers and working with sellers right now? Oh, one more strategy for buyers. Can't believe I forgot this one. You agents, go find a neighborhood, an area, a school district, a geographic location that your buyers are looking for. Call through that area, prospect to find a listing that a house for sale that your buyer will want. That's another great strategy. And that would be something before it even hits the market, but go out there, find a house for your buyer. If your buyer ends up not liking it, you get a listing, and then you'll be on the listing side of all of this competition. So again, love to hear your comments. Comment below what your experience is in a very competitive, fast seller's market. Again, watch that video, please, on love letters. I'll link it below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Dana Sparks, broker of Maximum One Greater Atlanta Realtors, satisfying your needs with service, innovation, and education.